Good morning, students. Good morning, students.
Good morning, sir.
So let us resume the discussion. This is our second class on the free radio, the short story by Salman Rushdie. We have already got the background of the story, and we have made the two important characters of the particular story. The protagonist, Ramani, who is the rickshaw puller, and recently being attached to a lady, the wife of a late thief. Okay, so these are the two important characters, and the third important character here is the narrator. Okay, who is narrating the story. Okay, the narrator, who is a teacher and old person, he is narrating the story of Ramani, and he has already given the background how they came to have a sort of relationship. That in this particular wife of the thief, late thief, is having economic problems because the husband died without leaving any money for the family. There had been 5 children living with the wife of the late thief, that means the thief's widow. She has been referred to as such. Now, she had economic problems.
Sir, your voice was not clear.
Okay. Hello? Hello? Is it audible now? Hello? Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir. Yeah, sir.
Okay.
Yes,
Now,
sir.
this particular protagonist, Ramani, he has owned a brand new cycle rickshaw from his father, and that way he has got a profession. The narrator says that he is not a rich person because he is a rickshaw puller, but he is not so poor as to live in hunger. Okay, he has money enough for the 2 meals, and this particular lady, the widow of the thief, is very financially crushed one. Okay, she is facing great financial troubles because she has to rear the 5 children and herself, and as a result she invites customer. Okay, she is having a profession on her body. And that she has become a sort of prostitute, and rich people were seen coming to her hut in the night, and this bania, the mahajan, was also seen to be visiting her at night. The narrator is narrating all these things. Now this particular lady at this time tried to hook Ramani, and the narrator describes the situation how he had been hooked. That on one particular day, when this narrator was sitting under the banyan tree which was in front of the bania shop, she with her 5 children had come there, and Ramani was there. Ramani was called by this lady. She called in an air as if she was able to pay for the ride, although the narrator and the others present there knew that she really did not have that much money. But the narrator makes a sarcastic comment saying that this particular ride on the rickshaw of Ramani by the woman and the 5 children was a sort of investment, because that way Ramani had been hooked by the lady, and later on Ramani could be seen with the lady here and there of the town. Okay, that means he had already developed a sort of relationship with the lady. Now they were seen moving here and there. They were seen in many public places, and there is an indication that this particular boy might have gone wrong, okay, in the wrong way, because he was also seen behind the, that is at the back of Irani's canteen with some of his friends, some of his age group friends, and it also meant that he might not have been happy with the kind of relationship that he has recently developed with the lady, and taking a chance of it, taking the troubled mind of Ramani, his friends were trying to exploit him as well. Okay, and he had been taken to the backside of Irani's canteen for drinking. So he is taking illegal liquor, he is developing a sort of a relationship with the lady. This may be some of the troublous things that Ramani is facing. And the narrator comments that it is good that his mother is now not living, because she would have felt very ashamed of this situation. Okay, we left at this moment. Let us resume the discussion. I was sad to see Ramani fall into this bad company. The narrator felt bad, or better say, the narrator felt sad to see Ramani falling into the bad company of these people, not only the friends but also of the widow of the thief. His parents were known to me when alive, but when I told Ramani to keep away from those hot shots, he grinned like a sheep and said I was wrong, nothing bad was taking place. So this particular narrator had known the parents of Ramani, so he wanted to bring Ramani to the right track, right path, and so he wanted to suggest certain good things to Ramani, but Ramani grinned. Ramani did not accept it, and he only said that he was wrong. That is, the narrator was wrong to suggest those things, that he was really not going astray. Excuse me for a minute. So Ramani commented that the narrator was wrong, that nothing bad was going on. Let it go, I thought. I knew those cronies of his, they all wore the armbands of the new youth movement. Okay, armbands of the new youth movement. Some leftist party movement had been going on. Okay, so those people were known to be of that group, and they were not considered to be going on a right track, and that Ramani might have joined this group. Okay, this was the time of the state emergency, and those friends were not peaceful persons. There were stories of beating up. So I sat quiet under my tree. Ramani wore no armband, but he went with them because they impressed him. The fool. Okay, this is a command that Ramani is fool to not notice those things, that those people who had been, those friends who had been taking him to take illegal liquor, they were from a particular uh, movement of the youth, and they were not considered to be going on the right track, and Romani had been dragged into it. They wore some armbands, a certain sort of symbol of the band, that is of the movement of the group. Romani did not wear it, but his activities, his association, his intimacy with those friends meant that he was part of it. These armbands youths were always flattering Ramani. Such a handsome chap, they told him. Compared to you, Shashi Kapoor and Amitabh are like lepers only. You should go to Bombay and be put in the motion pictures. So, see, these people, these age group friends, they were just trying to loot, exploit Ramani. So, what did they do? They all the time appreciated Ramani. Ramani's beauty had been appreciated, and they said that compared to Shashi Kapoor, that means compared to you, Shashi Kapoor and Amitabh Bachchan are lepers only. Okay, not strong, not beautiful. You are more beautiful, more that is more handsome than Shashi Kapoor and Amitabh Bachchan. So better you go to Bombay, okay, and join the motion pictures film industry. So you have a better look. You have you are more handsome than Shashi Kapoor and Amitabh Bachchan. So you go to the you go to Bombay, join the film industry. You shall be able to earn money. You shall be able to dominate the Bollywood pictures. Okay, so that way they were only flattering Ramani, and that way Ramani got elated. Ramani would take them to give parties. They flattered him with dreams because they knew they could take money from him at cards, and he would buy them drink while they did it, though he was no richer than they. सब अपलोड কৰিব লাগিব গম পোৱা নাই তুমি So they flattered him with dreams because they knew they could take money from him at cards. That means they played cards as well. Okay, gave up cards, and they would be able to take money from Ramani. They would be able to defeat Ramani and take the money, and also motivate him to give them drinks. Although they were richer than Ramani, they were busy in looting Ramani. So this kind of thing happens, goes on happening. So now Ramani's head became filled with these movie dreams because there was nothing else inside to take up any space. And this is another reason why I blame the widow woman because she had more years and should have had more sense. So Ramani's head now became full with those dreams of joining the film industry. Okay, he really did not have a critical look about his uh, health, about his look. Okay, being appreciated, he became elated. Okay, and again here says, here the narrator says that I blame the widow woman because she had more years and should have had more sense. In two ticks, she could have made him forget all about it. But no, I heard her telling him one day for all to hear. Okay? Why the narrator is blaming the lady? This is this. Truly, you have the looks of Lord Krishna himself. You have the looks of Lord Krishna himself, except you are not blue all over. Okay? Even that lady began praising the beauty of Ramani. We know she is also trying to loot him money. She said that you have the looks of Lord Krishna himself. Only the fact is that you are not blue. That means Lord Krishna having the blue color, but you have the white color. Okay, you have a better look. Even Lord Krishna himself. That was what she wanted to imply. In the street, so all would know they were lovers. From that day, from that day on, I was sure a disaster would happen. Whenever I heard that widow woman appreciating Ramani for his looks, I knew that some disaster would certainly befall on Ramani. The next time the thief's widow came into the street to visit the bania shop, I decided to act. Okay, so I, being a person known to the parents, being a well-wisher of Ramani, wanted to take some measures against the widow woman. Not for my sake, but for the boy's dead parents. I risked being shamed by no, I will not call her the name. She is elsewhere now. They will know what she is like. So that this narrator wanted to take some risk. That if he has to be shamed by the lady, he will endure it. But save Ramani from the clutches of this woman. Thief's widow, I called out. Okay? Whenever she came to the bania shop, I called that lady, thief's widow. She stopped dead, jerking her face in an ugly way, as if I had hit her with a whip. So she stood there, she stopped as if she had been whipped whenever I said thief's widow. So the very address is a sort of insulting one, we know. Okay, she was not called by the name. She was referred to as the widow of the thief. Indirectly, the shame of the thief comes on her. Come here and speak, I told her. Okay, I want to talk to you. Now she could not refuse because I am not without importance in the town. And maybe she calculated that if people saw us talking, they would stop ignoring her when they passed. So she came as I knew she would. But I was also a very important person in the town. People knew me. So whenever I called her, she could not disobey me. She had to come to me. And if she comes near this narrator and engages herself in a talk with the narrator, other people will just pass by, not notice. But if she disobeys and the teacher goes on calling her, everybody will be noticing her behavior. So she was compelled to come to the narrator. I have to say this thing only. I told her with dignity. Ramani, the rickshaw boy, is dear to me, and you must find some person of your own age, or better still, go to the widows' ashrams in Benares and spend the rest of your life there in holy prayer, thanking God that widow burning is not illegal. Okay, that this narrator, in a stern voice, said that rickshaw boy Ramani is known to me, and you must find out some other person as your next husband who is of your age. You must not hook Ramani who is much younger to you. Or if you cannot find a person of your age, better go to the ashrams and pass your time there in the prayer to God. So at this point, she tried to shame me by screaming out and calling me curses and saying that I was a poisonous old man who should have died years ago. Okay? So, whenever I proposed these things, she shouted, screamed, and told certain shameful words to me and said that I should have died years ago. I am very old and I should have died. That I am not able to say anything important today. And then she said, let me tell you, Mr. Teacher Sahib retired. That means this narrator is a retired teacher. We come to know from this address. Let me tell you, Mr. Teacher Sahib retired, that your Ramani had asked to marry me, and I have said no, because I wish no more children, and he is a young man and should have his own. So tell that to the whole world and stop your cobra poison. Okay. We know that this lady is not going to accept whatever suggestion is offered to her by the teacher. And she says that it was Ramani who proposed to me, and it was Ramani who said that he was ready to marry me. It was I only who negated it. I did not want to marry because I do not want more children. Okay? It was Ramani who proposed to marry me, not I. So better stop these poisonous words to me. Okay? Do not say any bad things to me. Do not say any bad words to me. Better say this to Ramani. That is the implication. For a time after that, I closed my eyes to this affair of Ramani and the thief's widow, because I had done all I could, and there were many other things in the town to interest a person like myself. So after that day, I did not say anything about Ramani. That means I did not say anything to that lady about Ramani. I thought that I have better things to think on, decide on, talk on. For instance, the local health officer had brought a big white caravan into the street and was given permission to park it out of the way under the banyan tree, and every night men were taken into this van for a while and things were to them done to them. Now the narrator says that I have some other important things to talk about. Okay, that there had been a very big caravan, big sort of big car and van is a thing which is between a car and a van. Okay, a sort of vehicle, caravan, and that was brought into the street, into the town here, and that was parked under the banyan tree. Okay, near the bania shop, and under the banyan tree it was parked. That means it was a large sort of vehicle, and people were invited to that car, and certain things have been done to them, or certain things have been talked to them. within the car. I did not care to be in the vicinity at these times because the youths with armbands were always in attendance. So I took my hookah and sat in another place. So I changed my place from the shade of the banyan tree. As the caravan had been placed there, I thought it better to be away from this. I heard rumors of what was happening in the caravan, but I closed my ears. So I had heard what had been happening in the caravan, but I did not want to pay any attention to this. I closed my ears. But it was while this caravan, which smelled of ether, was in town that the extent of the widow's wickedness became plain. Because at this time Ramani suddenly began to talk about the new fantasy, telling everyone he could find that very shortly he was to receive a highly special and personalized gift from the central government in Delhi itself. Okay, that the lady's wickedness became plain. We shall shortly know why her wickedness is so clear, plain. Ramani was giving out a message that shortly he will get a special and personalized gift from the central government, and that this gift was to be brand new first class battery operated transistor radio. Okay, that Ramani would get a transistor radio which is brand new and first class, and it indirectly refers to the government scheme of the free radio that the particular story has taken the title from. Okay, this particular story has taken the title from the free radio scheme of the central government, and Ramani has now become a victim of it. Okay, and that was probably the pushing motivation of the widow, thief's widow. Okay, that is, Ramani would enter the government scheme of castration, that he will not be able to give birth to any child. He would lose his fertility. Okay, and that way, as he enters this scheme, he will be given a special gift, that is the transistor radio by the central government. Central government had been providing free radio to the people who would accept this system of checking the population. Okay, so the widow must have motivated Ramani for this act because she wanted Ramani, but she wanted no more children. Okay, so she wanted Ramani for the sake of money. Okay, so if Ramani's fertility is cut off, castrated, he is castrated by the government scheme, she will be having a relationship with Ramani but having no children. Okay, so that means the youth had been lost. The youth of Ramani had been lost. Now then, we had always believed that Ramani was a little soft in the head, with his notions of being a film star and what all. So most of us just nodded tolerantly and said, "Yes, Ram, that is nice for you. And what a fine, generous government it is that gives radios to persons who are so keen on popular music." So that whenever Ramani had been saying this, people first thought that Ramani is getting it as a special gift, and as he is a lover of music, because he always talked of going to the film industry of Bombay. So he is a music lover, and that he has got a gift from the government in which he will be able to listen to music. This is good. This is very nice. But we know the irony of it. Okay, he has to lose his manhood for it. But Ramani insisted it was true, seemed happier at any time in his life, a happiness which could not be explained simply by the supposed imminence of the transistor. Okay. Um, Sometimes the people doubted whether that special gift would really come or not. But Ramani said that he would get it. Okay, that this kind of motivation, this kind of publicity had been there whenever this government scheme had been launched. Okay, this caravan which had been kept under the banyan tree, under the shade of the banyan tree, was doing that business, doing that activity, carrying out the government scheme of castrating men. Soon after the dream radio was first mentioned, Ramani and the thief's widow were married. And then I understood everything. I did not I did not attend the nuptials. It was a poor affair by all accounts. But not long afterwards I spoke to Ram when he came past the banyan with an empty rickshaw one day. Okay? That this this scheme, that this gift of the radio was spoken of, was publicized, and that was publicized in a very focused way by the widow of the thief. Okay, Ramani uh, accepted the scheme, thinking that he would get the transistor radio. And after this was announced, that means after he had gone through this process of castration, the marriage had been solemnized between Ramani and the widow. Okay. After that, the narrator noticed that Ramani came past the banyan tree without any passenger. Okay, he was suffering. That means his business was suffering. He came to sit by me, and I asked, "My child, did you go to the caravan? What have you let them do to you?" So this narrator asked Ramani, "Did you go to the caravan? What had been done to you?" "Don't worry," he replied. "Everything is tremendously wonderful. I'm in love, teacher Sahib. I have made it possible for me to marry my woman." Okay? I have accepted it, that I can marry my woman, marry the woman I love. I confess I became angry. Indeed, I almost wept as I realized that Ramani had gone voluntarily to subject himself to a humiliation which was being forced upon other men who were taken to the caravan. I reproved him bitterly. "My idiot child, you have let that woman deprive you of your manhood." Okay? So, Ramani really did not understand what had been done to his body. And the teacher now says, "My idiot child, my stupid child, you do not know what wrong you have done to you. You have lost yourself of your manhood." Okay? "It is not so bad," said Ram, meaning the Nashabandi. Okay? Uh, that means talking about the vasectomy, the operation that he has undergone. "It does not stop love making or anything." "Excuse me, teacher Sahib, for speaking of such a thing. It stops babies only, and my woman did not want children anymore." Okay? So, I have undergone the um, operation, but it is not going to affect my love making to any woman. Okay? The only thing is that no child will be born of this sort of union. So I can marry the woman I love. Okay, she does not want any more child. So I had to go through this operation. Okay. So now all is 100% okay. Also, it is in national interest, he pointed out, and soon the free radio will arrive. Okay. So he was talking about, he was actually sacrificing the whole manhood for the sake of Ramani, and sorry, for the sake of the widow. So the narrator says that you are a stupid child. The free radio, I repeated. Okay, you are talking of a free radio. Will it really come? Yes, remember, teacher Sahib, Ram said confidentially. Some years back, in my kiddie days, when Lakshman the tailor had this operation, in no time the radio came, and from all our town people gathered to listen to it. It is how the government says thank you. It will be excellent to have. Okay? So, Ramani now says confidentially to the teacher, the narrator, that yes, this is a very good scheme. In my kiddies, during my childhood also, I heard about it. And Lakshman the tailor had undergone that operation, and he had got a radio. And then all the townspeople came to Lakshman's house to listen to the things played on it. So I am also going to get one such radio. It will be an excellent thing for me. Okay? Go away, get away from me, I cried out in despair, and did not have the heart to tell him what everyone else in the country already knew, which was that free radio scheme was a dead duck, long gone, long forgotten. It had been over, fun to forever. Okay? That this particular boy did not know, that means Ramani did not know that the scheme of the free radio had already been stopped. Okay? That means the scheme of vasectomy, the operation on man, was going on, but the scheme of providing a free radio for this sort of operation had been stopped, and this boy did not know this. The thief's widow had been motivating him for this act by giving him the lollipop of the radio, but the boy did not know. Okay? And not knowing about these things, about the different aspects of the scheme, that the free radio scheme had already been stopped, he had undergone the operation, thinking that he would get a very brand new transistor radio. He had undergone the operation. Okay, so this is what we have known about Ramani's life's irony, that he has already undergone the vasectomy, the operation, making the man lose his manhood, and that he did it under the instigation, okay, wrong motivation, instigation of the thief's widow. Okay, we will stop here today. So we have known here today how this Ramani had entered into the bad company of the widow. He had also entered into the bad company of the age group friends, the friends from the youth movement. How the narrator had tried to take him to the right path. Okay, he suggested certain measures, but Ramani would not accept it. Okay, then he tried to say certain things to the lady, that means the thief's widow, that she should better go to the ashram or find a man of her own age and leave Ramani to live his own life. Even that attempt of the teacher to save Ramani from the clutches of the widow failed. Then one day he called Ramani and asked him if he had entered the caravan that had been placed under the shade of the banyan tree and what things had been done there. Ramani said that he had undergone the operation, but he did it because now he would be able to marry the lady he loves. That this lady wants no more children, so he went through the operation, and going through this operation he is serving the nation. It is in national interest, he says, and that he is going to get a very beautiful, important, significant prize or award or gift from the central government of Delhi. That is a radio, transistor radio. Of course, the irony of it, the narrator says that he did not know that it was a wrong thing that had been published, that he had been led to believe, because the free radio scheme had already been stopped several years ago. Okay. So thank you. I hope you have understood the story. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you. We end the session here today.